Hello and welcome back to another episode of Garage Classic Cars and Tinkering in the Garage. So today I'm going to attempt to fit this, which is a taxi heater valve, onto my Sunbeam Sport. So what I've actually got on at the moment, and I'll show you shortly, is an electronic solenoid valve off a Fiesta. Problem is, because I never switch it on and off a lot, it sticks. And I've had it so it was stuck in the open position, which is good because it keeps the heater on, however your feet boil. So what I'm going to do, revert back to the old school one, slightly different to original, but it's what we all put on the Hillman Imps these days. Bought it off eBay, about £8. We'll see how it goes. Your heater cable connects to this little tag here, and it opens and closes. It's got an arrow on it, flow arrow, just there, and the cable goes onto this, and I have to make a loop. So I've been to Bob's this morning, the Imp man, and because when I put my heater valve on, took the cable off stupidly, so I've got this other cable here which we're going to modify and make it fit, and I can cut this to whatever length I want, which is handy, and he gave me that for nothing, just an old piece. So what we're going to start doing first of all is going to strip, open the boot, empty everything out, take all the covers off, strip everything out, and then I'll catch up with you on the video then. Okay, so as you can see, just down here on the left is my remote temperature gauge, monitoring the temperature from the engine coming through to the heater. I've got this little solenoid valve. It's a plastic one off a Ford Fiesta, and I took all the bracketry off it, cut it all down, and basically the water flows through the heater, then back out down the pipe, goes through my front radiator, and then back to the existing. So I'm going to replace this with a heater valve. However, what I've got to do is I've got to put a T in here to link into this, so that my heater will either go through the heater, that will have to link back with another T into that heater hose, and then this will link into the heater here, which will make my heater go from off to the front rad, or when it's open, it'll just automatically go through to here. Now I've got a heater, British Leyland heater mini box in this car, which is lower down, so you never have to vent it like you do on the Hillman Imps standard system, and it works really well. It's got a better fan. I still have the original fan down at the bottom, but I just need to have a little bit of a think. I think that's how I'm going to do it. I need to sketch it out and see how I'm going to tackle this. But I've ordered some tees. I'm just waiting for them to come from Amazon, which I'll cut in here. So I'm going to get my hoses out ready. Got some heater hose, and work out what I need before I start stripping everything down. So that's the next port of call. Okay, so I've managed to get it in my head what we're doing. So I'll briefly run through. Flow from the cart through the heater, back out the heater down to this hose, which I can try and turn my camera a bit wider, which comes to this open end here I've got. So what I'm going to do, when my T comes, I'll cut a T into that, so that will link that hose to that one. So when I close this valve, which is closed in cold position, the water then will travel down this pipe behind my heater, behind my wiper motor, down to my front radiator, back out through that pipe, this pipe here, this pipe. I'm going to put a T in there with this elbow on, trim that down, and connect that hose to that. So then what will happen, the water will flow down through that, through my heater, back out, back to the engine. Once that's in the closed position, that's the plan. That's in the open position, that will then come down through there, out through that, into that heater hose. Can't go that way because it can't push it. It'll all be pushing that way and go that way. I might have to put a non-return valve in that. That's what I might have to do, but I'll worry about that afterwards, because that'll only be when the heater's on. But in theory I should have two forms of cooling, the heater and the front radiator. So down through that one, down through my heater in the front, back up into the, sucked back to the engine in the open position, go through that into that pipe and then get drawn back that way to the back of the engine. That's in theory how it should work. I'll only know once I've got it up and running. So that's where I'm at. So now I've got this in. When I get my tea, that'll go into there. That'll go into there. Plumbing is all done. I've just put a new piece of heater hose on here. What I do need to do from here, which I was lazy when I painted the car, I never took that off, is put a new cable in now. So I need to get that from the inside of the car. And I'm not going to video that because it's going to be so awkward. But basically, on the later cars, they have a slide. I'll take you in and show you. I think that's the best thing to do. Okay, so this was my switch I had for my heater on or off. So I've pulled the cable through. I've just got to chase this blue wire. I think it's just an earth. I'll take this cowl off here and check on it. Disconnect that. That'll be alive. I'll try and disconnect that, but I'll leave the switch in because it covers the hole. Come in handy for something else. But this is the control on the later car. So as you can just see inside there, that's where the heater goes on. Hot, cold, hot, cold. And just beyond there's a little clip. Somehow I've got to get the cable in through that and clipped onto that. Now that might be my challenge without having to take all the glove box out. But I have a feeling that's going to be the case. I'm going to empty it out now in preparation. And it's going to be a nightmare, but it's got to be done. It's about time I had a bit of a tidy up in there anyway, because I've got that much crap lying around. PowerPoints, this is for my dash cam. The lot's got to all go, so I shall crack on and start stripping the glove box out. I'm hoping if I just pop that lead there and that one off already. I lost the pin for that, but it's there. The box will just drop down and I can gain access to it. So let's have a quick look. So to be honest, it's not really helped because it's down there, the little bracket. As you can just see, this one here, my fingers touching there. So that one there is a pain to get to. It's right behind, so I might have to, I don't know how I'm going to get, without taking all the dash out, and I ain't doing that. Anyway, we'll resume back in a bit. Okay, well, what a job that was. Right, I'm not going to go through every tooth and nail, but I had a nightmare behind the dash because stupidly when I put this electronic valve on, which I took off here, which is this one, I didn't need any cables. So I stripped the cable out, this one. To try and get the clip on behind the dash, I've had to take half the dash apart, the glove box out, the heater controls, covers off, the cigarette lighter, my ashtray out, everything, just so I could just get the blooming thing in. So after about an hour and a half, I've managed to do it. I've had to curl this. Fortunately, unlike if I had the original, I had plenty of wire on this because this is the spur. This is the length of spur I had on, so I had that much to wrap round the to make a loop, so I had plenty of spare wire like this here. So I was dead lucky. I've managed to wind it round about 3 or 4 times. What I might have to do is just put some, maybe, I don't know, some, it won't come off, it won't pull off, but yeah, I had a right job. But anyway, my teas have just arrived, so I've put the tea in there. So my heater comes this way through the valve when it's in the off position at the moment, in the on position, goes through the heater, back out through the heater, through that hose just there, into a T, which then will go back that way to the engine. Now I might have to put a non-return in there so that when it's on, swap over, it doesn't push it back through the heater, but I don't think it will because there'll be forcing fluid, will be it's flowing that way through this, so it's always pushing that way, so it can't flow back. But it may do. But if I have a problem, I'll put a non-return in there. So that then goes back into that heater hose, which goes back to the engine. When I flick this over to the off position, it shuts the valve. The water then flows through that hose at the bottom, through my front radiator, down here, back up through this hose, if it went that way, it would hit that valve because that's in the closed position, so it's got to carry on through and back to the engine. So fingers crossed we've got all that sorted. But oh my god, the car's in bits. The dash, glove box, everything's out. I've had a right nightmare, but it's allowed me to tidy a bit of wiring up, which I don't need now. Still got to sort that switch out, but I'm getting the right way. The only problem I have, it's not a problem, is when it's off, it's there, and when it's on, it's there. So I've got to swap the stickers over. But that little clip in there, where that cable is, what a bar stool that was. Absolute nightmare, because you can't get your hands in. But anyway, I've managed it. So all I've got to do now is put everything back together. And you'll see this is my heater, my mini heater. I've got, this is my radio wiring, and God knows that tucks up out the way. I've got to sort all this out, and then happy days. We're back up and running. Get rid of this wherever this goes. I just need to check where that is now. And fingers crossed, I'm all good to go. Put the radio back in, the glove box back in, and we'll go for a start. But what I might do is do a start first and get some water circulating. Make sure I've got no leaks on my heater hoses. Anyway, I'll resume back when I'm ready to, well, when we're completed, and I can give you the SP on how it's gone. So for now, we'll speak to you in a bit. Okay, so I thought I'd just do a quick video of this solenoid. So these are cheap Chinese things. They're 7 or 8 quid. You just cut all this plastic off and it makes them sit in a bit better. I've just whizzed the screws out the top, and I'll just break it. And you'll see, well, there you go, all the crud inside. And that's what stops the piston coming up and down. Actually, it's not as bad as I thought. Comes in and out like that. It doesn't go back in properly. So clearly it's just stuck. You can see all the rust just up there on the spindle, and that's the problem. All it does is open and closes the port. You can hear all the stuff falling out of it. Probably be alright that if I put a live and earth to it, to be honest. It looks a lot better than the last one I took apart, because it was all rusted in there, but that isn't. So apart from a bit of debris in there, it should go again, that. So we might try that, because we've got nothing to lose. I'll put it back together, and we'll put it on the battery, not tonight, another time, and see if it works again. Might be handy just to keep for something else, but in theory I should just throw it away, because you hoard enough crap through your life, and it's just more rubbish that I'll probably never use again, but we'll see. Anyway, there you go, that's all it is. You got your water in, water out, and it bypasses round. Clever idea. And on the Fiesta you have a modulator controller, so it's through a thyristor, I think, and you can control how much the piston operates. Of course, on an imp I don't have that facility. It's just on or off, and it works a treat. But now I've got this new one on, I can actually control the temperature a little bit. Okay, so we're finally all back together. I'm going to give it a quick spin. It took me a nightmare because I didn't have the cable on. So if you've got the cable, it'll probably take you about half an hour. It's just a matter of taking your old valve off, putting your new one in line. The problem you may incur is that the standard valve just has the wire going through with a little bolt, what you put your nip up and you lock it on. This is circular, so you'll have to pull should we say a coil on your existing cable. I know some people have done it, it's a bit difficult, but you don't always have enough. You might have to just cut the casing back a little bit to give you a bit more wire to allow you to do the curl to wrap around the spigot sticking off. But anyway, it gives you the gist of what you need to do. I've had a bit more complications, like I say, because I went to an electric motor, solenoid, sorry, and it backfired because it kept sticking. So I've reverted back to the old style, but a modern version. But I had to put the cable back in. But we'll give it a run and we'll see what I like when we see if I can actually drive it now without boiling my feet off and it not getting too hot. That's my only worry. because I always had the heater on, and I used to run it used to run about 80 degrees on the motor, which is lovely. If it runs at 80 with the heater off and the front rad, I'll be happy. If it's higher, I don't like really running it, but I'll trial it. Anyway, that's it for now. I hope you've enjoyed the bit of tinkering I've done. Got a lot more to come on the Fiesta, which we'll disclose at a later date. Speak to you soon. Ta-ra for now.
Oh, Gary's classic.